Welcome you all to the September 23rd, 2024 regular meeting of the Wappinger Town Board. May the town clerk please call the roll.
Councilman Beal.
Here.
Councilman Bateen.
Here.
Councilman Phillips.
Here.
Councilman Casella.
Here.
Supervisor Cavasini.
Here. In just a moment, I will invite you to join us in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, followed by an invocation led by our friend Rabbi Kozner from the Jewish Federation of Dutchess County, and then followed by a moment of silent meditation in memory of a former town supervisor's office employee, Melva May Laffin. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. God, full of compassion, we ask you to bless the Wappinger Town Board and guide them with your wisdom and courage. We are currently standing a month before Veterans Day, a day where people of great courage and sacrifice fought for independence, for freedom and equality for all. Just like it took great people to secure for us the many blessings that we enjoy today, it likewise takes great and courageous people to ensure that freedom is perpetuated to all of America's sons and daughters. It required sacrifice then, and it likewise requires a lot of hard work and sacrifice now to ensure that every corner of this great country, and the town of Wappingers in particular, is governed, managed, and supported in the vision of the giants of whom we stand on their shoulders. To have the courage and tenacity to work towards the present and future, to ensure that everyone here in the town of Wappinger can not only survive, but can be given the fullest opportunity to thrive and grow, to feel safe and secure. We all know that there is so much hard work, thought, and sacrifice that goes into the running of the town of Wappingers and its operations. And we likewise also know that the smoother the many tasks of the board are, the less people are bound to notice, and the more people take for granted. So I ask you, God, Master of all flesh, to enlighten the eyes of the residents of this great town to appreciate the hard work, thought, and sacrifice of the Wappinger Town Board, and perhaps to ask that those in this chamber themselves, those who truly serve here today, of the people, by the people, and for the people, should themselves understand and appreciate how important and sacred their tasks and hard work are. May God guard and bless the Wappinger Town Board, the local, county, and state police, medical and emergency providers, the United States Armed Forces, and the United States of America. And may God answer for this board as the psalmist prayed, may the sweetness of my Master, my God, be placed upon us, and let the work of our hands be established on us. Let the work of our hands flourish. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Rabbi. We greatly appreciate your time being here and your words tonight. Again, as I mentioned before, our moment of silent meditation was in memory of Melva May Laffin, who was secretary to the town supervisor of Louis Deal under his administration, and she will be greatly missed. She was always a great presence when she came into town hall to visit. With that, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved. Second it.
Moved by Councilman Phillips, second by Councilman Beal. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. Motion passes. Do I have a motion to acknowledge the minutes of the September 9th, 2024 Town Board meeting?
Move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Beal, second by Councilwoman Bettina. Discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. Motion passes. Do I have a motion to open the public portion of our agenda?
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilwoman Bettina. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. With that, folks, you have 3 minutes to come up to the podium here. We ask that you state your name and address for the record and talk to an agenda item. Anyone wishing to come forward is welcome to do so at this time.
I was going to say, don't be shy.
Don't worry.
No, I know you're not.
Name and record, right? Joseph Ruggiero, Robinson Lane, Wappinger Falls.
Thank you.
So, thank you for your beautiful words. We do pray for our town, and thank you for the work you guys do. So tonight on the agenda, you have a vote on the lease of Carnworth Farms. And it's a little bit of a history lesson, but, you know, this is something that doesn't come along every day, this opportunity. You have an angel investor, right? Someone willing to take some risk. You know, in 1999, this property went up for sale. It was owned by Greystone Programs, which was a not-for-profit that serviced the mentally disabled. And they wanted to sell the property. They needed the money. But they just didn't want to sell it to any developer because that's what they were afraid it was going to be carved up into 99 acres into a couple hundred homes. So they approached then Supervisor Smith, and she asked us to consider. And for a full year, the board deliberated whether or not we should purchase the property. And with each month that passed, you know, Greystone was feeling the pressure because they had a financial obligation. They needed to move on, and we were holding them up. And they did not want to let the property go. They were offered a little bit more money, probably more money than what we were going to pay. And it was coming up to the 11th hour. And Connie called for a press conference on top of the hill. Councilman Paoloni and I at the time joined her, and we called on the town to come out and support the purchase. There was a lot of controversy. A bond of $2 million, it's a big deal. The town came out and they supported it. And Angela, your brother, former councilman, my good friend, he moved. He was one of those that were undecided at that point. But when the public came out and supported it, Vinnie moved the motion to buy the property, and Robert, the other councilman who was reluctant, now Bill's sitting in his chair, seconded it, and it passed unanimously. And therefore, our partnership, our friendship, our ownership, our adoption of Carnworth was there. And during my administration, we worked very hard on trying to, we preserved the land, we created a park. It's forever parkland, except for the donut hole, which includes the mansion, which we always had the vision of something extraordinary going on there, some sort of public-private partnership. And we worked very hard in trying to get it. We were so close in the early 2000s, and there was this partner, these two partners, and one was Joe, one was Charlie. Ironically, that's the respective names of both my grandfathers. Unfortunately, as we were getting closer to having a deal, Charlie passed away unexpectedly, so the deal fell through. And in the meantime, the mansion became compromised in its structural integrity, and we needed to do something, and we needed to act swiftly. So we started doing Band-Aid approaches to tarping the building so the rain would stay out. And then in early 2007, I got a report from the engineer. Structurally, the inner center of the mansion was going to give way and was going to inevitably collapse. So we took emergency actions, the board met, and we passed another bond, 4 votes to get the bond, and we secured that building. We invested close to $1 million. We stabilized the mansion, the carriage house, because the vision to do something greater than just have a dilapidated building was the mission. We had a master plan that was worked on by the citizens of the town. They all came together, and that vision is still carry on. And now we have an opportunity. An opportunity that doesn't come along every day. It's an opportunity that probably comes along once in every 25 years, and here we are. Right now, in front of the town, consideration of this town board, is a lease agreement, a 25-year lease agreement, where the first 3 years of the lease, the investor, at his own risk, will invest somewhere between $3 to $5 million a year, $3 to $5 million to reconstruct, stabilize, and open the mansion to be a 25-bedroom bed and breakfast, which is totally in line with the master plan, the vision by our citizens so long ago. And then after that, once they open for business, the town will get $120,000 a year in revenue for 25 years with a 2% kicker in 2032. So between the $5 million investment and almost $3.5 million in revenue, someone is coming before this government and saying, here is an $8.5 million investment, and all we have to do is say yes. The risk is being shifted off the taxpayers onto an investor, an angel investor. Angel investors have a vision. They like to be a little daring. They like to be risky. He sees something that we saw 25 years ago, and he's willing to partner. Now, we have tried to get grants. We got a grant from Governor Pataki, $350,000 to do the roof. My successor's term, they abandoned the grant. They did not want to do the matching grant. That was an opportunity lost. The roof was never done, and the mansion has been compromised. Recently, Supervisor Cavassini invited me to come out and see the property, and I had not been to the property in many years, and I had not been in the mansion since I left office. And I was sad to see the disrepair, because I know when we turned over the keys on January 1st, 2008, that was a bone-dry building, airtight, and ready for the next phase, the roof. The vote for the roof never came. And here we are today, an angel investor willing to step up, partner with the town, a genuine public-private partnership. We in government, we talk about this all the time. Somebody's going to come out of the sky and fix our woes, right? There was even crazy thought that we were going to have a public-private partnership and rebuild the Tappan Zee Bridge. Well, guess what? That didn't happen, right? But here, you have that opportunity. And I would give anything to trade seats with any one of you right now to be part of that board to vote yes tonight. Because this is something that has been languishing too long. And if you don't vote yes, I want to know why the no vote. Why no to someone else willing to take a risk and investment in our town? $8.5 million has been put in front of the board. Not a single state senator that's represented this town has ever delivered a grant that big. Nobody in Congress has ever delivered a grant that big to us. So this is one of the largest gifts to the town of Wappinger in its history. I urge this board tonight, on behalf of 25 years of us waiting, now finish the job that we all started. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Marcy Wagman, Old Troy Road. There is a lot of enthusiasm in the community for improvements at Carnwath. Everywhere I went this past couple of weeks, people are asking questions, people are energized by it, people are excited by it. Seeing that the building assets at Carnwath need to be invested in and continue to provide value to the community. But what I'd like to do is propose a community meeting or a series of meetings where the developers who are interested in this agreement present their conceptual plan and an information system, with an opportunity for questions and answers with the community, where members of the public, who basically are the owners of the property, can ask questions and exchange ideas. And it's not meant to, in any way to criticize what's going on, but really to develop a partnership and a neighborly kind of welcome to our community, understand what's going on, understand what the desires and needs are of the community members. And I'd really like the developers to get a sense of the enthusiasm and the community's interest and support for this project. So thank you. Take care.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Darylyn Brennan. I live on Carmel Heights. I have reviewed the lease agreement for the Carnworth project, and I think it would behoove us to move forward in adopting this project. I don't know if there's further studies that need to be done, or if it's like a memorandum of intent where there'll be some questions answered. But I think it's a much better use than having it go to waste and basically become a cost that we, as the residents, will need to incur to have the building eventually torn down because it's a health hazard. I also encourage all the town board members to vote yes to adopting local law regulating hazardous pollution sources in proximity to public water supply sources, aquifers, and wetlands. Water is our most precious resource, and we need to do everything we can to protect it. And this resolution seems to do a good job of preventing chemicals and gasoline and other hazards from entering our water supply. We already have a problem with one of our wells with the PFAS by the airport, so doing anything we can to protect future our remaining water sources from hazardous chemicals, and also local residents' wells, I think behooves us all and protects us all. So I encourage everybody to vote yes, and if no, I'd like to know the reason why. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the town board on agenda items?
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Bettina, second by Councilman Phillips. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. The motion passes. Moving along to our consent resolutions. First one being 2024-179, a resolution adopting certificate of base percentages, current base proportions, and certificate of adjusted base proportions from the New York State Office of Real Property Services. Resolution 2024-182, resolution declaring no parking for Community Day. Resolution 2024-184, correspondence log. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. We approve.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilwoman Bettina.
On the question.
Yes.
On the question. Excuse me. The no parking resolution is on the west side of Old Myers Corners Road only, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
The unsafe portions of the road.
Yeah, I think we just want to make sure we have the width for emergency vehicles to get
Yes.
through.
And this was done in connection with the New Hackensack Fire Company.
Yeah, this was basically done at the request of the fire department.
Yeah.
And the sheriff's office.
And the sheriff's office, we had parking on both sides of the road, which it's a narrow road to start with, so getting emergency vehicles down there, you couldn't do it. It would put the neighborhood at risk.
Okay, just want to make sure that we're also going to have provisions where people can park, right? Because that takes away.
This is no different than years
Yeah.
past. We're just
Yeah.
codifying this way our law enforcement have a means of
Yeah,
enforcement.
so if you look at Resolution 179 and 182, they're basically the same thing we did on September 25th, 2023.
Okay.
So it just basically replicates.
And thank you for being proactive again.
We want to write 0 tickets. It's about safety.
Yes.
Right, and no accidents.
All right. So we had a motion and second. Any further discussion, Councilman?
Nothing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you very much. The motion passes. Moving along to the non-consent agenda. Resolution 2024-158, a local law number 3 of 2024, which would amend chapters 85, 213, 214, and 240 of the Town Code with respect to to a variety of definitions and zoning codes regarding businesses and planning. Do I have a motion for discussion?
I'll
Make a
move.
motion for discussion.
Okay.
Moved by Councilman Beal, second by Councilman Phillips for discussion. The town board had requested that I retain an additional planner to review local law number 3, so we retained the LaBerge Group, who is our grant writers, engineers, in our approved list from the beginning of the year. They circulated their comments in addition to Hardesty and Hanover, Hogan, Rossi, and Liguori, and our Director of Strategic Planning and Municipal Codes. So those were all circulated in one document, highlighted in various different colors to the town board. Was seeing if the town board had any discussions or comments on that, considering we received it last week.
I still have legal questions with respect to this, so I am going to make a motion that we discuss this further in executive session.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Beal, second by Councilwoman Patina. Any further discussion?
So don't we have a 7-day waiting period too, because we made a number of changes? So by law, I think we're required
We have to reintroduce.
We have to reintroduce. So even if you were to say yes tonight, you can't really say yes tonight.
Well, unless you don't make any changes.
We do, but if you think about it, right, just think about the tattoo parlor. It's in this one here, but you have it as a separate item on the agenda. So, and we also didn't agree on some of the fines and fees, so.
The point is that if you do leave it as it is, you can pass it.
You could.
But the tattoo parlor resolution gets
Yeah,
squashed.
that was done, obviously. If the town board wanted to approve the initial one tonight, then the other subsequent local laws go away. But obviously, if you're, still unsure about local law number 3, then we had the subsequent local laws broken out for things that we've discussed.
And I thought the other thing we're going to take a look at once LaBerge takes a look at this is that,
They did take a look.
so the point of the matter is that as they make changes, right, I thought we were going to take some of these out of local law 3 and continue to make them separate, like local law 4, 5, and 6 tonight that we're going to discuss. So I thought we were going to do that going forward. So again, there's certain things we will agree to in local law 3 that we're going to take out of local law 3 and do those as separates because we can agree to those. But other ones, we're not going to agree. And so I think that's the point where we're at right now.
In the spirit of public discussion, that's why I wanted to have this on
Yep.
the agenda. This way the public
fine.
was informed. And again, there are certain aspects of local law 3 that we do still wish to have adopted, following, obviously, additional.
Discussion.
Yes. Okay. There is a motion second to table. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. Motion passes. Resolution 2024-173, resolution authorizing the lease of the Carnwath Manor and portion of the Carnwath Chapel. Do I have a motion for discussion?
Make a motion for discussion.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councilwoman Bettina, second by Councilman Casella. For discussion, again, this is something that we've had since February. We've been kicking around. I'd like to thank former Supervisor Ruggiero for coming out. I think you summarized it perfectly, took the words out of my mouth from what I was going to say tonight. I ask that the town board seriously consider adopting this resolution here tonight. That would at least give some sort of commitment to the investor that we're serious about this, and then we can continue to have a number of public hearing sessions and scoping sessions and things like that. But we need to continue to move forward on this. This is an angel, beautiful offer that we have. And again, this has been kicking around since February. I don't know how much longer folks are going to be able to hang around considering this. So I think that if the town board were to adopt this, we've only received positive comments on this from the neighborhood, from residents that use it. I think that if we were to adopt this tonight, we can continue to move forward. It's a good faith effort.
I would have no problem supporting a letter of intent. I don't agree with the contract as written. As the former supervisor just said, they're going to invest $8 million. That's the first time I ever heard that number, quite honestly. And I'd like to see, as Ms. Wegman said, a scope of what they want to do. I would, again, have no problem with sending a letter of intent, but, I would like to see those things.
Have them come in and present to the public.
They did come in and present to the town board. We had an
Right,
executive
but-
session at the
No,
beginning
I
of the year.
understand, I was there.
Yep, I
That's
know.
right, guys.
Just, I'm
I was
letting the
there.
I'm letting the public know
But I'm letting the public know also
there
that
was a
I think it
discussion.
would be good that everybody hears what they have to offer before any decisions are made. I'm not an engineer. I want our engineer to look at this also. That's not in my wheelhouse, and I know how development goes. So I think it's all good. We are not against it, but I think it's important that they come in, present to us, present to you, have our engineer look at whatever the proposals are, and we'll go forward. If it's a good thing, we're going to do it. We're being transparent.
So I'm gonna agree with what Ms. Wagman said. I agree we should have them come in, let them talk about it, give a presentation. Again, I'm okay with a letter of intent at some point in time. Basically, it says we have exclusive rights with them so that nobody else can come in and do it. And let's see what a fully development plan looks like. Let's do the due diligence that we need to do. And again, I think it's a great idea. I just don't think the way it is today is correct. Now, has the attorney for the other side seen this contract?
Yes, they've seen this.
Okay.
And again, this was, as I told you before, Councilman, drafted off of the town's standard lease agreements that we have with the New York State Police and Empress. It was then handed over to Hogan, Rossi, and Ligori for additional modifications, and Mike Ligori put his touches on it. So this has been reviewed by legal. This has been blessed by both sides. Again, these are all discussions that we've continued to have over the course of the year. The public is very interested. We know the full scope of what this is going to be. It's a 25-bedroom hotel, an event space in the chapel. There's no other future use plan for it on our end. I think that, again, moving forward with this lease agreement is a no-brainer, considering the public support we've gotten for this. Again, I'm unaware of which concerns you have in the lease. I'd love to
I
hear
don't
some of
agree
them.
with.
No, let's have the conversation.
So there's a mortgage agreement into that. They don't own the property. I don't agree with allowing an outside party mortgage our property. I don't agree with that.
That was added by our attorneys.
He added that, and that's the only thing he added, because he has said, we need to do the lease. We need protections, they need protections. I want a full scope of work being done. There's a lot that has to go into this. And quite honestly, I don't agree with the agreement for the state troopers and the EMS building. If you look at that contract, to me, it's not a good contract.
Well,
that's my opinion.
Well,
That's my opinion.
We did just unanimously approve the tenancy with the ambulance.
That's right. I still don't like the original contract.
Okay.
So let me say this. I've been here since 2007 with Supervisor Ruggiero. One of my first votes was to vote on that bond, which I voted in the affirmative for, to keep the mansion standing. I do support this private-public partnership, but I do want to move forward with unanimous support from the board. So we have some board members that have some reservations about some of the parts of this contract. I do think we need to show some momentum moving forward, right? And I do like what was mentioned earlier about having the developer come in here and do a community gathering or a public session to present to the public and the board what their conceptual ideas are, so that we can have a better understanding of what type of product we're going to see in the end. I believe that this is a great opportunity for the town, but I want to make sure, as I said at the last meeting, that the numbers are all going to be on the up and up as we go in. So, Supervisor, is it possible to show that we are interested in moving forward, but want to bring the developer in here, whether it be at the next town board meeting or prior to the next town board meeting, for them to put on a presentation? Is that possible?
I will definitely relay that to the interested party.
Because I think I'll feel more comfortable myself also seeing that presentation. And yes, to be fair, we did have a conversation with these parties in executive session, right, for legal purposes. But I think we need to have a greater conversation about this entire project publicly so that the public can understand what their vision is and what our vision is and where we see this partnership going.
I agree. I think we need to be transparent on all accounts. And the more information that's out there, the more informed you are.
And, again, I love the word transparency because that's what we've been doing. We put this lease out there once we had it blessed by legal, so this has been floating out there, so we've been transparent.
I didn't say we weren't.
I
I'm
know.
saying that I think it would be wise for the developer to come in and be transparent to our public, to our
I'm being fully
constituents.
transparent. Just
Not
piggybacking.
us.
Just piggybacking.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good, but
Just
that's what
piggybacking.
I
It's a
mean
fair point.
by transparent. The taxpayers need to be informed. This is your park. It's not mine. I mean, I pay taxes, but it's all of ours.
It's
And we
also a
would be.
25-year
Yes,
lease,
investment,
so I
yes.
think, waiting another month or so to ensure that we have unanimous consent here on the board, or as close to it as we can get. I want to make sure that the board members are comfortable. I'm not 100% comfortable unless the board members are comfortable moving forward with this. And, I happen to believe what Supervisor Ruggiero said, that these opportunities only come, once every, who knows, decades, right? We've been through this before, and this could be a great opportunity. But again, we want to make sure that we fully understand the agreement and that the numbers add up.
Which is why I suggested a letter of intent.
Okay. Letter of intent, Ms. Mayor.
Yeah, again, because we think this is a great opportunity. We don't want to shut it down, but again, we want to do our due diligence here. Them coming in, let them give the presentation. I think everybody, including the residents themselves, will feel more comfortable with, potentially doing this. But again, no problem with doing a letter of intent showing that we are definitely interested, so they'll be interested in moving forward with this. I don't know if our attorney wants to add anything else on that.
I would just say that, I think that letter of intent before you authorize it, if you're going to have that public session, that should probably occur first. But you could certainly have that drafted and ready for the next meeting.
Okay.
If that public session is going to be planned for that. We could certainly work on that and have that ready for you if you wish to move forward at that date.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
good, thank you.
Thank you. And again, this board has done its due diligence. Again, it was perfectly summarized here tonight. After a $5 million investment potentially, we'd be generating $120,000 a year in rent. I think that the numbers make sense considering not producing anything now, and there is a potential for us to have to pay money in the long run. I understand that the town board wants to now do a public scoping session, which is fair, and I respect that. And we can continue to move this process along here.
Perfect. Thank you.
And just a suggestion, piggybacking off of what Councilwoman Bettina said before, you noted that you're not an engineer, so potentially you might want to have the town engineer and your town planner
Yes, I
at
would.
that meeting, that public session.
And
Yes.
as the councilwoman knows, I do object to that because the idea that I was looking at this from was as little impact to the taxpayers as possible. That was the idea. Already, as, again, the former supervisor had noted, this town has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this building in particular. So by almost putting that cost onto the investor, that makes sense for their engineer, their consultants to do that, no different than the planning process. Our engineer would then review, stamp that, no different than what our attorneys have done with the contract.
Right, but they haven't given our engineer any information.
Because they don't have a firm commitment from the town.
Right, if they get a letter of intent and they
Yes.
come and speak to the public, I think they would be wise to give this information to the town's engineer for their review. Because the town engineer is here to protect all of us also.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So there is a motion and second to table. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed, 1 nay. Motion passes 4-1. Thank you. Resolution 2024-180, a resolution introducing a local law regulating hazardous pollution sources in proximity to public water supply sources, aquifers, and wetlands. Do I have a motion for discussion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilman Phillips. In the spirit of continuing to make progress during our moratorium, we've been working collectively on, obviously, imposing a number of quality of life laws here in the town that would restrict overdevelopment and protect natural resources. This here is a local law that was actually just adopted by our colleagues in the Dutchess County Legislature, overwhelmingly supported by the county legislature and our county executive, Sue Serino. This law is practically identical to that, and this covers a number of the aquifer protections that we have been talking about for quite some time now, to obviously preserve open space and protect the wells, both our well fields here in the town and private wells in the town. I know Councilman Phillips, you've briefly been involved, or at least been circulated on emails for the Clean Water Protection Committee there that's been going on for quite some time. So this is a great summary to that. In respecting the board's wishes, we broke out this section to be specifically focused on, obviously, protecting the aquifers. So this is an introductory law. Obviously, we'd love to hear any comments and background.
So two comments. First of all, we got to change the date on all three. So 180, 181, they need to be changed to October 15th, and 183 as well. Okay. They say October 14th. Second comment is, can we have David Gilmore now at LaBerge? Can he take a look at this? Because what you don't want to do is, let's just say David's going to take a look at this. He changes it again. Then we got to wait another 2 weeks. Can we have him look at it first?
Yeah. I mean,
I have no problem moving forward, but I just don't want him to make changes and have to come back, and it's 2 weeks, and they say, why, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks?
And Councilman, just to hopefully put your mind at ease here, too, we can definitely do that. But this is what's passed county legal, county planning, county legislature, and so this law in particular has been fully vetted. I mean, this is a county-wide ordinance. This would be specifically applying here in the town of Wapping to protect us. I'd argue, again, county planners, county attorneys, they've done their due diligence on this. And again, I informed our colleagues in the county legislature, from sponsoring legislator John Metzger to the county executive's office, and they were very enthusiastic to hear that we were entertaining.
And we do need to do this. There's no doubt about it. I just want to make sure that, again, our planner's not going to make any changes to what you have here today. If it's the exact same thing, that's fine. Okay. But if it's not,
I think it's a good idea. It won't take them that long to look at it. I agree.
you could do that. I mean,
Yeah.
I have no issue making going to the 15th of October. I want them to take a look at it, get it back to us within the 7 days so we can get it on the agenda for the 15th.
I'll make that.
That's okay.
No, thank you so much, folks.
I think we all want clean water for everybody.
You also would want your planner to put together the environmental assessment form, so
Yes.
while
Thank you.
reviewing, he can do that.
Yes, thank you. And again, just making sure that the town board's kept in the loop. This is obviously going right to you folks, so if this was something that you said, Supervisor, what are you doing? Obviously, we did not want to move that forward. So, this is something that we can all work together on. I'm happy to hear that we have support on this, and we can continue to move this along.
Just one, go ahead.
My question is to Barbara. In looking at the law, is it laid out for code enforcement, or is that something separate, or in addition to?
Yeah, this is more of a planning aspect of it. So before it even gets to code enforcement, this is throughout the planning process. So planning board. Yes.
Additions to it that will actually spell out.
Hopefully the county will do the work on that for us.
Yes. It's all being worked on. But again, the county, they adopted this in full form. Our colleagues up there have adopted it, and the county executive obviously supports as well. So it's a good initiative and something that we should be moving forward with. Councilman Beal, you had a comment.
Yeah, I don't disagree with the initiative, but I think we need to have specific definitions here for public water supply, wetland, and aquifer consistent with our code. It says here that these definitions are consistent with New York State Sanitary Code or Dutchess County Sanitary Code. So I know that there are discrepancies between definitions within New York State Sanitary Code, Dutchess County Sanitary Code, and then Town of Wappinger Code. I'd feel more comfortable if the definitions of these were identified within the legislation consistent with our code, because that's unclear from this perspective.
Just for the board's information, I'm sorry to speak out of turn, but the Department of Health deems any water supply that serves 25 or more people in a day is considered a public water supply. So even if a car dealership had 25 or more customers coming through and salespeople, that well is now deemed a public water supply. That is the definition under the Secretary of Code.
So, and again, yeah, this is how that was written, specifically that section there, Councilman, in the county's legislation as well. So that's a standard definition.
And this would be for new construction, I would imagine, because, you know,
Yes.
there are...
We can't retroactively do
Right. Okay.
Thank you. So we'll pass this along to the planners. We'll have the full environmental form completed as well with seeker, and we'll move that along. So this is, again, introducing the local law, so we have to approve of that for it to be introduced. So there was a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. Thank you, folks. Resolution 2024-181, resolution introducing local law number 5 of 2024, which would amend Chapter 240 zoning of the town code with respect to tattoo parlors. Do we have a motion for discussion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilman Phillips for discussion. Again, following along with what the town board had requested with breaking out local law number 3 into more specific legislation. We itemized here tattoo parlors. When we initially introduced this code back at the beginning of the summer, I had noted that neighborhood business, which is the most restrictive of our zoning districts, currently houses a strip club, a liquor store, and smoke and vape shops. So allowing a tattoo parlor, which nowadays have really limited impact on the community, is something that I believe that my colleagues on the town board felt was okay with. So that's why we introduced this legislation here today to amend the town zoning code to allow for these tattoo parlors in neighborhood business. If there's no further discussion, do I have a motion to move forward with introducing local? We already had a motion. So if there's no further discussion.
Do we also need to have, while we're having 180, 181, have LaBerge look at it, or are we good with this one?
It's up to you. This, just for your
Again,
information.
I don't want to hold it up because I think it's the right thing to do. Just want to make sure there's no other changes.
I was going to say, Councilman, just so you know, so you feel comfortable, this is the legislation as it stands in our town code, and our Director of Strategic Planning and Municipal Codes and the town attorney added the schedule of uses, so it amends that to basically just say neighborhood business. So the code is verbatim as is, except for neighborhood business. So if you're comfortable with that, Councilman, we can move forward. All right, perfect. So we had a motion, second?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Thank you very much, folks. So that will be moving forward to our next meeting. Okay. Resolution 2024-183, resolution introducing local law number 6 of 2024, which would amend Chapter 217 subdivision and Chapter 240 zoning of the town code with respect to tree felling exceptions. Do I have a motion for discussion?
Make a motion for discussion.
Moved by Councilman Phillips, second by Councilwoman Bettina. So with this, we worked with our Director of Strategic Planning and Municipal Codes on filling a gap of what was created in the 2019 tree felling code. We've had a number of subdivisions that had come in where before the planning board had even granted final approval or any sort of approval, this code previously had allowed for developers to come through and clear-cut hundreds of acres of land, which is what we saw down in the Chelsea Hamlet and along Myers Corners Road, allowing these parcels to sit undeveloped with a mutilated property for years. This code would reverse that. It would actually give the planning board more and code enforcement more authority when it comes to which trees can be taken down, and it would grant any sort of tree felling after the final approval from the planning board is granted. This is how it used to be done in the town. We had some beautiful neighborhoods built in this town, such as Spring Terrace, Chateau Falls, where they left the trees, and you had winding roads through there. It adds the quality of life of the neighborhood, and that's what we're looking to do here, and not just have these clear-cut
Right.
properties. Is there any further discussion from my colleagues here?
I think where the issue lies is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Barbara, but trees had to be felled based on the timing of the Indiana bat presence. That's what the issue was?
And that's still part of this. Director Roberti, could you come up? And that's still,
There's more than that.
yes, but it's still part of that. But now it's just giving the planning board more authority as to when in the process they can be felled.
So the trees have to come down by March 31st. If they don't come down and a developer wants to start, his hands are tied until the end of October. The problem is, in the past, as the supervisors brought up, Chelsea Farm, like Chelsea area and other areas, they jumped the gun, they clear-cutted, and the way the law is, they can only fell the trees. They can't chip them, take them out, log them. So what happens is it kind of looks devastated. And in some cases, it stays.
More than that, there is a certain dimension of a tree, a mature tree, that you should not be just going in and cutting down. And that should be on their site plan for your review and also the planning board's review. And I don't believe that's what happened there, because everything was cut down.
Correct.
So they cut down where they thought the road would be. And we need to do better at the planning board to have them show us the trees in the path of the disturbance that will occur when the road is put in. That being said, we had no teeth before.
Right.
And I think by doing this, one, I think some people thought they would go from preliminary to final very quickly, and they didn't. And I think this way, it makes it a little tighter, and the planning board is more than aware how fast a preliminary can go to final based on health department and the different agencies. So this way, this would tighten it up so that they couldn't do that unless they were that close to getting ready to develop that spring, summer.
Yes.
Thank you.
So my question would be, any project, any subdivision plat approval that meets approval after March 30th would have to wait 7 months before they can start?
Correct, because of the Indiana bats.
Okay.
And isn't there a certain dimension of tree?
Not at this time.
Oh, maybe that's something we should consider, honestly. I mean, if I have an oak tree that's been there for 200 years and it's not diseased or anything, and if it's unfortunately in a path of a road, maybe they can move the road instead of cutting down a mature tree. Trees.
Well, I'm 100% in favor of that.
Yeah.
With all due respect, this really should be passed, and then that's something we can look to
add on.
amend it as we go forward.
I was going to say,
thank you.
Councilwoman, because just to
That's
strengthen
important.
it, yes, to strengthen our code, this is the first step.
Yes.
And I agree wholeheartedly, and I'm happy to hear your support on that, because there's sample legislation out there that we can send to you for your review and
I think the board would agree with that also.
I wholeheartedly
Instead of
do.
it looks like,
And that could be something with the moratorium before that
yes,
is lifted, that should already be in place going forward.
thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you. Any other discussion from the board? Thank you. All right, we had a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. Motion passes. Resolution 2024-185, resolution authorizing the transfer of funds in the Wildwood Sewer District. Do I have a motion for discussion?
I'll second it.
Moved by Councilman Phillips, second by Councilman Casella. So, folks, this comes while we're doing our internal reviews of the budget and auditing financial practices in the town. The previous comptroller did not budget enough for the debt capacity in the Wildwood Sewer District. There is a $1 million bond anticipation note that was outstanding for the Wildwood Sewage Treatment Plant. There was only $4,750 remaining in that line to pay for the debt, and we need to pay both the principal and interest, combined total of about $82,000. This resolution that I'm presenting here tonight would grant the comptroller and I to pull from fund balance of the Wildwood Sewer District to pay for the ban anticipation note, the principal and interest.
I don't see this resolution in our packet.
It's 185.
I would love to,
It's out of order if you look at the package, so it's kind of in the middle section.
Oh, yeah, it is right here. It's packet page 10, Councilman.
Oh, that makes sense.
I don't know how it got there, but
So where is this coming from?
this would be coming out of Wildwood Sewer District fund balance.
So there's what, about 130,000 in the fund balance, and we only need roughly 83K.
Correct.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay,
whatever you need.
perfect. Get a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you very much. Motion passes. Thank you, folks. With that, we have items for special consideration and new business. Councilman Beal, would you like to lead us off from the first ward?
Sure, and I'll start with a Ward 1/Ward 2 problem.
Oh,
Do we have problems?
The problem comes from across the street in Ward 2.
Yes.
Of course.
But the problem is caused by the Ward 1 area.
But we're a team.
Yes. For folks that are aware of the pungent odor that is occurring on 9D in the area of Montclair townhouses, yes, we're aware of it. We've been
Yes.
dealing with this for more than 2 weeks.
It's been going on for months.
Longer.
It's not something we want to bring up at every town board meeting, but I
No.
need to bring it up now because residents are going nuts, and rightfully so. There is an issue with the wastewater treatment plant that is managed by Montclair Townhouse Property Management Company, and we have been in contact with Dutchess County Board of Health. We've been in contact with the New York State DEC. We've been in contact with several of our elected officials at the state level, and the latest that we're receiving about this is that there is a solution that is going to be in progress relatively shortly this week, right?
Yes.
So it is so strong over there that the fire department was actually dispatched to that area for an odor of gas leak in that area. It actually ended up being this wastewater treatment plant. And we understand that this happened about 2 years ago previously. The town is not the regulatory authority over this wastewater treatment plant, which is a private plant. The Dutchess County Department of Health is not a regulatory authority. The New York State DEC is the regulatory authority. So I just want the public to understand that we are literally dealing with this every day.
Yes.
There are email threads that go on for miles.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a couple different ones that actually had to forward my thread to the supervisor, and I'll loop you in.
And I forwarded you one of my threads, so yeah, we've been going back and forth.
We've been working on this.
There's a lot.
And Councilman, just to piggyback off of that, this is something that when I first took office, we were aware of. We had a number of residents over on Misk Lane in particular start to come in around the springtime. My office had notified DEC of the complaints that we received. After that, DEC had went out to the Montclair wastewater treatment plant in July, where they found that the plant was not operational. Not operating.
Yeah.
We did not learn that information until about 2 weeks ago, which was concerning to all of us here, that the plant was not operational. And again, we are not the regulatory agency for these wastewater treatment plants. I did speak today with VJ, who is our representative for the region here at DEC, and he has assured me that they have posted consent orders orders to remedy on the plant. They have demanded that the sludge be removed and that the new sand filters be installed, and that's all happening supposedly this week, so we're continuing to maintain that conversation. So thank you, Councilman, for raising that.
And what I'll just say in conclusion is we understand that this may not be our direct responsibility. However, looking at the larger scope of issues with wastewater treatment plants, it affects groundwater, right?
Yes.
When these plants fail. So that is a concern for us, and that's why we are doing everything we can to find a remedy for this as soon as possible. So that being said, that's in progress. Also want to mention that we did submit a total of $56,400 in requests to New York State Office of Emergency Management with respect to hazard mitigation funding for the purposes of hopefully receiving funding, which the state has available for purchasing 2 generators for other wastewater pump stations that the town does own. Yes. I did speak to the state again today about that. There's no guarantee that we'll get that money, but we did put that request in, working with Mike Tremper, and I believe that those generators would be eligible under the hazard mitigation funding stream, so we'll see if that comes through. The last 2 weeks have been pretty busy here in the town of Wappinger. I want to thank everyone that attended our 9/11 services here. Not only the town services, but also the Village of Wappingers Falls had services. New Hackensack Fire Department also hosted services, and our town continued the tradition of pausing and reflecting on that dark day. So thank you for all that participated in that. Just a week ago Sunday, we had our Town of Wappinger First Responder Awards here. That was the 8th annual First Responder Awards, and this was notable because of the number of certificates of recognition that we presented. And I want to thank my colleagues for standing beside me for 2 hours and 10 minutes. We try to do this in 90 minutes, but this year, with the gas explosion in the Village of Wappingers Falls, there was about 45 minutes of additional recognition, which was rightfully deserved for those individuals, rather than just hand out a few to different people. We handed out recognition to every person that was on that scene that put themselves at risk that day. So it was a little longer than normal this year, but I thank you all for standing there beside me and assisting with the presentations. And also, thank you to the supervisor for the unexpected recognition at the end of that service. I did not expect that. And also to Pastor Nathan Robinson. Thank you for your recognition as well. Certainly a humbling moment. And as we move forward into fall, it's now officially fall here, and the summer's over. So I look forward to the many activities we have here in the fall. Now that I'm spending a lot of time on our town properties, not only Robinson Lane with my 2 sons playing t-ball on the same team now. The one bench broke when I sat on it. We'll talk about that after the meeting. But there's one bench over on T-ball 1 that that would have been a bad splinter. I'm just saying. Somehow we avoided that. But the one of those just needs a new piece of wood on it. But the grounds are just incredible. They do such a good job out there, the partnership between the town and Town of Wappinger Little League. Now, my other son is playing soccer, so I'm over at the Regency soccer fields now on a weekly basis. And again, the new parking area and paved, and it's a great asset to the town. And I find it special that being here for 18 years now, still discovering parts of our town that I didn't have experience with because I didn't have kids until recently. So I thank you all for your hard work, especially Councilman Casella, who really takes great pride in our recreational facilities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you summed it up for me.
Sorry. Take it away.
But seriously, I'm sure everybody has realized we have not gotten any rain. We really are in a drought situation, so please be conscientious of how you use your water and pray to the, Mother Nature to give us some rain here, because every time they say we're supposed to get it, we don't get it, all right? So that's very important. The event at Bodwin Park for our veterans was very well received by so many people. Please go there. It's amazing what these people have done and what they have given up for us. Parks and Recreation, thank you for everything that you do, the movies that are out there and things for their families. And enjoy what nice weather before the clocks change. That's all I can tell you. And we have Community Day coming up, which will be a fun thing for everybody to attend. And thank you, everybody who does tune into these town board meetings. And thank you, everybody that did come to our first responders. And thank you, everybody who came to our 9/11 event. It was heartwarming to see how many residents came. So thank you. Take it away.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Phillips.
First, I'd like to thank our own Kevin Hawthorne from the Dutchess County Veterans Group and Councilman Beal. Last Wednesday, the town, basically, we call it the Wappingers Town, at Bowdoin Park, received the traveling veterans wall. I have to say it's one of the most moving. It left today, so.
Oh, it did, I'm sorry.
Yeah. If you haven't been to DC to see the original, it was as moving, and the services for our veterans were second to none. You guys did it, Kevin, you guys did a great job. I was proud to be a Dutchess County resident. So again, thank you, and Councilman Beal, I know you had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Thank you, it was wonderful. I can only say, if you watched our awards, you noticed how many accident scenes were tended to by our emergency service people. I asked that people slow down. It seems that the fall, people are speeding up more and more, and it's just, we don't need any more of those responses. So, again, thank you, both.
Councilman Casella.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank Councilman Beal. Outstanding job on the first responders. Also on the 9/11 ceremony, and also our supervisor on the 9/11 ceremony. Great job. You guys always do a good job every year, so thank you for what you do in honoring our veterans, et cetera. Just a quick couple updates. So on Martz Field, where the pickleball courts are, or basketball courts, so we had Craftco come out, got a couple of estimates also for Spook Hill Park. It looks like we're going to probably do those projects in early spring. Again, it's kind of late in the season to do those. One of the things we like to do, though, for the pickleball court is get the opinions for the folks that play tennis out there. There are 2 tennis courts out there. There's a potential third one where the pickleball courts are. What we'd like to do is see how the tennis players feel about putting a potential another pickleball court out there. So instead of having 8 courts, we'd have 10. So again, I don't want to take away from the tennis courts players, but if you want to get back to the supervisor or myself, give us your opinion. Again, this won't happen until 2025, but we do have the estimate for that, so we'd like to move forward with that if we can early spring. Again, they talked about, my colleagues talked about the Veterans Wall. I was there at the opening ceremony. And again, outstanding event that we had there, a number of great speakers there. Hope you all had an opportunity to go out there. Sunday was the cutoff, but again, outstanding work, and it was truly moving, you know, for not only Vietnam veterans, but also they had 9/11 as well, and some of the other veterans up there. So again, great job by the team that put that together. I'd also like to thank Barbara Roberti for her planning and zoning department there. We've had a number of properties that had some property maintenance issues out there, and we've been really cleaning them up. So outstanding job on some of them that have been, you know, needed work for the last couple of years, and we're starting to see some real progress there. So thank you very much to you and your team getting out there. I know it takes time. Sometimes you have to get, you know, people out there a number of times to go do it, site visit, et cetera, but there's a couple properties like on Vanderwater, outstanding job cleaning that property up, and same thing with the one on 376 and Topple Hill Road, just outstanding over the last couple of years. I do want to give a shout out to the town of Wappinger Senior Baseball League, the 13 to 16-year-olds in fall ball. They are undefeated. It just so happens that the coach, Gary DiMaggio, no relation to Joe DiMaggio, but Gary and I play on the same softball team. Actually, we won today, so we're in the championship for softball, but I'm going to give him a shout out as well. And again, the other thing I want to do is thank everybody for, again, the 9/11 ceremony. Again, outstanding job, so thank you to my colleagues for their support, and thank you for the residents for coming out to support the town board. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. And to piggyback off of one of your last notes there, something that we should be very proud of is that we are cleaning up a number of these zombie and derelict properties throughout the town. From the abandoned garage that's almost across the street from Town Hall here on Middlebush Road that sat abandoned for many, many decades, to a number of these properties from Vanderwater to Dogwood Hill to 376. These structures are being remediated, they're coming down, and really improving the quality of life of a number of these residents, which is something that has not been really you know, addressed for quite some time. So thank you again to our code enforcement office and to my colleagues on the town board for standing with us on that. We're also being very aggressive in terms of other quality of life initiatives, such as the illegal street signs are all over the town. Joined, you know, Building Inspector Sudeo and removing a number of them out of her car. I've gone out myself and removed a number of them. Director Roberti has removed a number of them as well. So again, all these great initiatives made to improve the quality of life of our residents. If you notice behind me, we've added some new flags to the dais, one being the prisoner of war missing in action flag. This town is home to the first POW MIA Memorial Park in the United States in memory of Major Joseph McDonald, who is still missing in action today from Vietnam. And Friday, September 20th was National POW MIA Remembrance Day, in which I had directed the Department of Buildings and Grounds to fly the POW MIA flag in front of, not only in front of this building, which it has been, but in all of our town memorials in our parks. So if you notice, Schlott House, Martz Field, and Castle Point now also have the POW MIA flag, and we've added it here to our dais. It is something very important that we do, and remember the sacrifices made by our veterans, and of course remember Major Joseph McDonald, who is still missing in action today from our town. Moving right along, though, with a number of other improvements, we've been working closely with Dutchess County Department of Public Works on a number of enhancements. We were able to get a number of roads actually paved this year that were not anticipated for this year, such as the stretch on All Angels Hill Road and a stretch of Old Hopewell Road approaching Hewsonville. We just met with Dutchess County DPW folks in front of Roy C. Ketchum High School. Legislator Faust joined me on that to add some visual enhancements there, some new signage, and better ways to identify that crosswalk. We also raised the issue of potentially removing the no turn on red sign, which is when you're heading toward Route 9 when you're about to pull into Roy C. Ketchum. So hopefully that will improve the flow of traffic there. There's also going to be some road work here in front of Town Hall along Middlebush Road, fixing a number of decades-old drainage problems that that our residents have faced. They've actually had some of their wells destroyed because of the drainage and the runoff from the county road there. So that's also being worked on as well. So I thank the county for continuing the positive relationship with the town. I had a great relationship with them when I was in the legislature, and they're continuing that to address a number of these issues now here in town. As was noted before, Community Day is right around the corner, and that is Columbus Day weekend at Brexel Schlott House Park. We're really working with our fully staffed rec team on making this a community-focused event once again. We are really working to get community vendors from booths, also parade participation. It'd be a great addition to the day. I did notice that you guys participated in East Fishkill Community Day with the sons and daughters of Italy there, so hopefully maybe you folks will have a vendor booth with us as well, but we're directly reaching out to community partners on that day. As to the budget, this is something that the comptroller and I have been working on all year, not only auditing the internal lack of policies and procedures that the town had previously, but the various shortfalls that we might have had in the budget. Starting in July, I met with all the town department heads, townwide elected officials to start going over their budgets, and we've been going through to bridge these gaps, as we saw here tonight, for example, with the Wildwood Sewer District. The town is in great financial shape, folks, but again, as we've noted before, we're lacking a number of the internal policies and procedures in the comptroller's office, which we've since corrected. I would like to offer to my colleagues on the dais the date of October 7th to hold a special meeting for the town clerk to present the budget to the town board. As we do that, part of this process was, again, filling the gaps that we did have throughout the town, consider all of our contractual obligations. Once we met those, and we were able to look at our 2025 goals, which stem from the 150th anniversary of the town, additional recreation programming, and so on and so forth.
If we're just going to be receiving the document, can we do 6 o'clock?
That works.
6
That's
o'clock?
fine with
Fine
me.
by me.
So I'll move that we authorize a special meeting for the purposes of receiving the supervisor's budget for Monday, October 7th at 6 p.m.
I'll second it.
Perfect. Moved by Councilman Beal, second by Councilman Casella. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much, folks. So there will be a special meeting. Again, this has been an interesting process. The comptroller and I have basically gutted what was the former budget and redeveloped it into something that we're very proud of. I anticipate this being under the tax cap, the supervisor's tentative budget, and something that will be a good base model for the town board for us to collectively work on and to obtain our goals for 2025. I just got a note before walking into the board meeting that the pickleball lights have been restored. Our colleagues at Central Hudson have finished the wait. They've finished the project. I have to give a special shout out to our Buildings and Grounds Department, who are doing a great job doing a number of these projects in-house throughout our town parks. They were able to install the conduit, install the electric, in one day for the pickleball courts out at Martz Field, one day after that pole came down. And we have been waiting for how long, Councilman Casella?
Probably about 3 or 4 weeks at least.
For our friends at Central Hudson to
I gotta tell
take
you, I
that
probably-
line and connect it to the pole.
I got to tell you, I called Central Hudson probably 4 or 5 times just to kind of get this thing moving, because we kind of promised them mid-September we'd have them up and running.
Yes.
And a little bit late, but they're up and running now, which is good, so.
Yes. But I do want our residents and neighbors to know that the town of Wappinger, we got the job done in a very impressive time frame, which I'm very proud of our team for. And that is all I have tonight. If there's-
Just one other thing, you
I
just
figured.
reminded me. So on Thursday, just as for situational awareness for everybody, Thursday, October 3rd, Central Hudson is going to be facilitating a gas leak exercise at Evans Elementary School. So school is closed that day. It's a Jewish holiday, I believe. So that day at Evans Elementary School, there's going to be a lot of Central Hudson vehicles, a lot of fire department vehicles, EMS, and law enforcement. So that's just an exercise. There'll be signage out on the street that says this is an exercise, so folks don't think that something is happening. But I will say, being involved with these Central Hudson exercises in other parts of the county, it's actually it's a good thing that they were able to do one here in the town of Wappinger. This was originally scheduled for June at Arlington High School, but we were impacted by those thunderstorms that took down a lot of trees. They had to cancel that exercise at Arlington High School. It was moved here to Evans Elementary School, and it gives not only Central Hudson the opportunity to exercise their plans and procedures, but it also gives our local first responders the ability to respond to a simulated event and as a drill as well. So just want to give you a heads up that that will be happening October 3rd. Thanks.
Thank you,
I
Councilman.
actually have one more thing, if you don't mind.
Yes.
So, Jessica, I don't know if you want to give us an update on Community Day at all, what's going on, the events? Yes, you. Thank you.
Maybe I can put that on the website too, so the parents know. But just have it out there.
I can definitely give an update because it's pretty much the only thing on my mind at this moment.
Okay.
So we are a little over 2 weeks away. You know, I always say every event you have to make sure all the bones and the skeleton are there, and then you add the bows. And all of our bones are perfectly in place. So now we're just adding on finishing touches. You know, we've been in contact with emergency services, the entertainment's booked, you know, the parade. As always, 2 weeks before, we have lots of promises and not much paperwork, but that will all come in plenty of time. You are all registered. You will have confirmation emails coming your way. It's going to be a great weekend. We do have our bonfire happening again this year. We're greatly appreciative to COSM for being able to do that. And you know, it'll be here before you know it. It's a blink away.
Is there anything you need from us at all at this point in time?
At this point in time, I know there is one thing that we need to discuss in executive session.
Yeah, it's not going. We're not going to do an executive session. That's not something that we can talk about in executive session, but following the meeting, we can just poll the town board and see what our
Okay.
options are. And just for full transparency,
It was a
folks,
surprise kind of thing,
yeah.
not a,
Yeah, it
not
was-
a legal thing.
Yeah, it was for determining the grand marshal of this year's parade, so.
So I did send out to everybody our sponsorship information. You probably got it while you were already sitting here, because I was still down the hall, in case there's anyone interested in sponsoring or you feel like passing that information along to anybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Director
Any-
Fulton.
Thank you.
Any questions?
The parade's on Saturday, right?
Correct.
October 12th at 2 p.m.?
Yes. And we're really encouraging a number of these community groups to come out on that Saturday to kind of resurrect that old Community Day field. You know, so I've engaged the Houstonville, New Hackensack, and Chelsea fire companies if they'd like to not only march in the parade, but also have physical presence on the property with a booth as well.
Yeah.
So.
We sent out over 350 parade invites.
Yes.
So that's why I say this 2-week period beforehand, we have lots of promises, and the paperwork will follow. We start kind of chasing people down for that at this point.
Okay.
Any
All right. Thank you very much.
additional? Okay,
No,
thank you.
Seeing none, thank you, folks. I personally do not see a need to enter into executive session. Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Beals, second by Councilwoman Butina. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.